Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be healing our inner child. Well, I've got an email here from a viewer, and I've done probably 2 or 3 emails of his. He's doing really well. This guy, when I first started coaching him, he was in an unhappy marriage and had just gotten out of it, but he was just kind of vacillating between going back and forth with staying with her or going out and seeking a life that he really wanted. He's at a point in his life, his career is really doing well. He's very successful. He just got to a place where he realized he never had the real deep kind of love and feelings of passion and attraction for his wife that he had always dreamed of. And he was basically spent his life in a 20-year, mediocre, average, unhappy relationship. But once he started following my work and what I taught, when he first came to me, he was kind of vacillating back and forth. He was struggling with pursuing and doing what he really wanted, and also the fact that he was breaking his family up. But he's had a lot of success. He's doing really well. He had a woman about a month ago who he met. It was this Latin woman. He had a really great experience with her. And he's just meeting women left and right, and because he really spent most of his life with the same person, so he never really had a lot of experience dating around and having lots of women that he dated previously. So it's just really cool to see his progress, and when I talk to him usually once or twice a month, I'll talk to him and do a phone session. Then you can hear it in his voice. He's like a kid in a candy store, and he's just having a kick-ass time, and it's like he's just fully alive now. Whereas like when I first started working with him, he was kind of unsure, he kind of felt guilty. Should I stay in this kind of a marriage? And now he's applying the things he's learning from, and he's having all kinds of great success. He's starting to date the kind of women that he really likes. But he also at times has to deal with the fact that deep down inside, he doesn't feel like he's good enough. He doesn't feel like he's deserving of what he really wants. It's like all of us, to some degree, kind of have that little voice inside of us. It's like, whenever something's going great in our life, it's like, oh, you're going to fuck that up. Oh, it's not going to work out for you. Oh, that person's not going to love you consistently. Oh, that's not going to work out long term. Oh, it's just a matter of time before the other shoe drops. Oh, it's just a matter of time before that blows up on you. It doesn't work. It's just a matter of time before your successful business goes out of business and the market turns and goes the other way. It's like we all have those little voices, those fears, those doubts, and that's one of the things that he's dealing with is overcoming his bad behavior, because he's dating this woman that's really spectacular, but this is a new experience for him. It's like he's raised the bar, but it's not like he has several years of dating somebody or several different women like this to where that becomes his new paradigm, that becomes his new reality. And anybody who watches my videos and they're trying to better themselves, they're trying to better the quality of their life in every area of their life, you're going to struggle with this at times. You're going to have fear, you're going to have doubts, you're going to be like, God, things are going so awesome. But I have one of my best friends that I grew up with, I remember this like 5-6 years ago, we were talking, it was before the real estate crash happened. And things were going great, and he's like, man, my life is like a dream fucking life, dude. He's like, but I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And sure enough, it's like 6 months later, what he and his wife would do is they would buy a really nice house, or a house that needed to be fixed up and make it into a really nice house, I should say. And they would live in it while the construction was going on, the renovation was going on. And then as soon as it was done, they would put it on the market. And they would make a couple $100,000 a year just flipping properties that way. Well, the first time he was like, wow, the market is going so well, let me go and buy another house and I'll put a margin on that one. And I can do 2 at the same time. Well, when he did that, the other shoe finally dropped, and then he got caught with 2 expensive mortgages on 2 houses that he couldn't sell. And he ended up, the other ones, doing a short sell on it. And the one he was living in, he ended up short selling because he was in the real estate business. And he saw his income go to basically 25% of what it once was. And now his credit is all fucked up, and he pretty much lost everything because he tried keeping those houses for several years, and he lost all the equity that he had in both of them, in addition to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of money that he had saved. His yacht's gone. I mean, it's like everything. He's like completely starting all over, just like he was in his 20s again. And so there was a quote that I heard. I can't remember who said it, but it's like vitality shows not only in our ability to persist, but in our ability to start over. And sometimes in life, that's what we need. We just need to start over. And that's what I love about coaching this guy. Is like he's at that place He's having these great success, but again, he still at times has worries, has fears, has doubts. He's got old behavior that he's struggling with, so it doesn't sabotage this new budding relationship. And so I got a quote that I want to share with you, and then we're going to go through his email. And the quote says, most obstacles that get in the way of us having healthy, loving, effortless relationships are really just barriers to loving ourselves that sometimes have been created in childhood. If our desire to be loved in childhood often was not met, or worse, we were abused verbally and or physically by those around us, we many times will carry these wounds and fears of unworthiness into our adulthood relationships. This can lead us to presuppose that it is only a matter of time before we are disappointed by those we love and want to be loved by. This often will show up as over-pursuing, needy and desperate behavior, irrational fears of being rejected or hurt, and generally doing and saying things because we are driven by fear to the point that we chase those who are trying to love us right out of our lives. We literally will talk those who are predisposed to love us right out of what we desire most, being loved. We can start to heal our wounds and dissolve our false limiting beliefs by thinking from the end, not taking ourselves too goddamn seriously, learning to practice infinite patience, and developing an attitude and demeanor where we are unattached to and okay with any outcome. In other words, no matter what happens, we are choosing ahead of time to be happy and grateful. Only by creating new and successful experiences and allowing them to mutually develop slowly over time will we be able to permanently banish our self-built barriers to love that exist in our hearts. So let's go through his email. He says, hey Corey, I've got some new successes and at the same time a huge obstacle for me. Your comments are always as very welcome. First, I'd like to share that the most important tool that you gave me is a list of what an ideal woman is that I want. I made it, and as you write about in your book, this Latina woman showed up within 60 days. After that experience, I refined the list. He got to be with this woman who was like the ultimate woman to him. Now, it looks like she's since gone back to her husband, but now he has had this kind of an experience with a woman who's successful, well off just like he is. And now he knows that he can attract somebody like that. He says, I added also to the list that she lives in my city, no kids, no baggage, and she's 100% single. And bam, she showed up. This new girl's got a wonderful body. She's super sweet, successful, and totally committed in a job she loves in a very leading position in her company. She lives in the nicest part of my city. She's just incredible. We had a cool first date. Obviously, we liked each other right from the start. And I only waited for the first time where she was curling and playing with her hair, and I grabbed her face and I just kissed her and continued the conversation like nothing happened. She was totally surprised. That's a total James Bond move, bro. Good job. Later, she said, you must be either very confident or you really know what to do. I had nothing to do with that. From this point on, she made it really easy. It was just like you talked about in your book, walking through the open doors. Well, there's a quote in my book, and it was something that Adam Carolla said many years ago. When a woman likes you, the doors start opening, and you literally, all you have to do is walk through. If the doors start shutting in your face, then you walk away. Remember, it's like attraction is not a choice. So when a woman likes you, all you have to do really is just not talk her out of it. She texted me the very next day, so I asked her out, and I said, when are you free to get together? And she said, well, there is nothing important on my schedule. That means, dude, I really like you, and I really want to see you again. That means high attraction level. Makes it really easy when a woman's excited to see you and hear from you. It was the same on the second date. She immediately got in contact with me a day later, and I asked her out, and she replied she's free Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. Notice how she makes herself totally available. And this is the important thing. She's 100% single. She's totally ready, willing, able, and open to starting something new. There's no ex in the background. There's no ex-husband that's creating problems. She's at a place where she's totally ready. He says on the dates at first she was a little in her head, but once I let her talk enough or I kissed her, she in a split second moved totally into her feminine. Then she was super sweet, touchy, and slightly submissive. It was so attractive. After the 5th date, we hooked up and literally did not sleep one fucking minute that night. The same with the 6 dates. So you were fucking like rabbits all night long. That's wonderful. This is your birthright. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is normal. This is what healthy looks like. This is what it looks like when two people are crazy about each other and they want to be together. It's amazing. It's fucking magnificent. It makes life so much better. He says, after the date, she said, I feel like I'm not in the real world. I don't know myself anymore. I don't know what you are doing with me. I know what you're doing with her. Fucking James Bond. Good job, dude. He says, we were so close emotionally that we decided to continue to be exclusive. It just felt right. And of course, she was the one that brought it up. It's a love story just happening. She's getting swept off her feet. You're the knight in shining armor. You're everything that she's been fantasizing about since she was a little girl, dreaming about one knight in shining armor when she grows up someday, coming and rescuing her from her dull, boring life and making it all exciting and worthwhile. He said, so far, so good. Even the first time we had sex felt gorgeous. I was really, in some phases, very tense, which led to unstable erections. She handled it perfectly, which really made me trust her. That's awesome. She didn't get butthurt. She didn't get offended. She didn't feel rejected. She just had a good attitude. That's fucking awesome. I like that. I like that she has that good attitude. He says, I checked this out with a doctor, but it seems to all be in my mind. When it comes to intimacy, all this old crap that I am not good enough, I have to prove myself, etc., comes back, especially with this woman who I really like. Time and repetition. Having new memories of spectacular that replace the old mediocre memories. Because this guy, I think he's close to 50 years old, so it's going to take many months and many years before that stuff just really no longer has any kind of effect on you anymore. This becomes your new paradigm. He says, of course I train already as you suggested, going to the gym, but it's still a problem. In other words, he's talking about also going to the gym and training, but also there's the article in the video that I did called How Men Can Have Multiple Orgasms, where I told him to work and do those exercises so he could stay hard even after he blows his wad. He says, but then on the 8th date, it went really badly. It was the first time we made sports and met some friends, which went perfect. I'd say it's still a little too soon to be doing group dates with your friends and your family. Because really, it's only been a few weeks that you've been dating her. He says, in the following night, it was a little bit as if we spoke another sexual language. She does not like to talk during sex, and she tried to give me hints of what she likes to do, which I did not understand. It felt so frustrating that I used some low-level Viagra stuff, but it was still like our anatomies did not connect effortlessly. It was very strange. She then at one point got pissed off, which really crossed the line for me, and I said, hey, I'm no robot, and you will not jerk me around, in a clear, calm tone. She immediately was super nice and apologized 10 times for that. Oh, that's good. Later, she texted her first kind of I love you message, and in this previous dating life, it would not have been that spectacular. I would have dumped her and then told her that. We talked about this and the problem that we had during sex, and she explained her side, and I was okay with it then. See, all good communication. I like that. But you see, the tendency is just fuck it. It's over. It's not going to work out. Fuck you. Get out of my life, you fucking cunt. To borrow a word from what the Australians like to say. I had a buddy of mine that was from Australia that I met about 20 years ago, and he was always using the word cunt all the time. And it's like, he says, when you go to Australia, he's like, as soon as you get in the airport, you'll hear guys left and right using the word cunt. And I thought that was fucking funny. He says, but of course, for me, it was really bad when I tried to be relaxed in bed. I'm really cooled down at this moment with her. I lost some trust that she built up previously so perfectly. But and notice what he says here. He says, but at the same time, I must accept a part of me that this is really my issue and my stuff. That's key right there. You take ownership. You know what? Because your natural instinctive reaction is to get pissed off and upset and say, fuck it, you're out of here. As opposed to looking at the fact that things are going really well and you just had a little bump in the road. But the thing I really like is that you talked it out like adults in a loving way. Neither one of you got butthurt and bolted. And so, like I said, your old programming, especially if you're used to being in dysfunctional, unhappy relationships, is just to totally screw things up and then blow it out of the water. But the good news is you remained calm, you kept your composure, and you breathed it all in. You thought, you know what, this girl really is pretty fucking spectacular, and she's the kind of woman I've always wanted. She's successful, we have the same goals and values, we have a really kick-ass time together, and I can have an adult conversation with her about sexual needs. And instead of projecting my own bullshit onto her and expecting her to deal with it, realize that, you know what, this is really just me dealing with my own insecurities. I mean, it's true. It's like if you've ever dated anybody that's passive-aggressive or has borderline personality or those kind of people, they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to express themselves. So what they typically tend to do is just totally fuck things up and blow things apart. And then later on, when things are a total mess, they go, probably wasn't a good idea to do that. So, but I'm so proud of you, dude. You are doing absolutely fucking spectacular. You've got the kind of woman you really want in your life, and you're handling yourself great. This is becoming your new paradigm. This is your new set point. I want you to have, anybody that's watched this, I want you to have somebody that's fucking spectacular. Somebody that totally knocks your socks off. The kind of person that you're always thinking about them. That no matter what you're doing, they're always in the back of your mind. That's what you deserve to have. But you got to do the work on yourself. You got to focus on your goals, your dreams, your mission, your purpose, things that make you happy. Filling your life up with great friends and family and people who love you, who support you, who encourage you to be more of who you are. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.